If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now everything's on sale during our Memorial Day event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses for a limited time. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life sleep.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We're joined now by Steve Cleveland, former BYU basketball coach. Steve, good morning.
Good morning, fellas.
Donovan Mitchell. Utah can't take their eyes off of him. What could have been? How good could he be? He's in a conference final for the first time. It's not the big prize, but it's an important prize along the way. He's got to be feeling pretty good. How impressed were you?
Oh, amazing. I mean, he just has so much confidence. And, you look at them against the Pistons in Game 7, and he goes 26, 6, and 3 at 29. I mean, He's just playing with so much confidence and playing. He's taken this team and will continue to take this team on his shoulders. And just watching the games and just listening to the different broadcasts and people, and everybody's pretty excited about what he's doing. And obviously he's surrounded with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley and James Harden. As I just watch this unfold, I'm sitting there thinking to myself that. Here's James Harden, who was, the kingpin in basketball for a long time, and now he's taking a more of a simpler role and not nearly as impactful. And but with that group, between Max Strus, Mitchell, Harden, Mobley, Jared Allen, they become a really, really fine-tuned team, and it's fun to see that. It's fun to see Donovan Mitchell have success, and even the guy like Sam Merrill, who makes contributions to this team, a local product out of Utah State, and it's fun to watch. Hopefully they'll continue to play that well, and we'll see what happens here with East Finals and against the Knicks.
It's amazing to me, you brought up Sam Merrill, to think that he's going to have a better NBA career than Jimmer. It just seems shocking. But at the same time, that's where we're at, and it's a real credit to Sam to find a role and just fit that role and play it.
Yeah. No, I don't think there's any question. And I've watched him for a number of years, and he's kind of gone unnoticed and under the radar. But he's just played well, and it's fun to see what he's doing and what's going to happen here in the playoffs. It's going to be exciting to watch.
You consider these two series toss-ups? You think somebody's got a decided advantage in these two conference finals?
Oh, you know what? It's hard for me to think that the Knicks are not going to win the East. I just feel like obviously they play the Sixers, and that was a joke. But at the end of the day, my heart tells me a little bit that the Knicks are going to be really tough to beat in a series like that. But my heart says go Cavs. And we'll kind of see what happens.
My last opportunity of the year to talk to Kevin Young this season, when I say year, I mean season, we're in the hallway up there in the Moda Center in Portland, right? And he says, he's talking about building his team for next season. And he said, and this is going to be a Jazz-related question, just to give you a heads up, that to him, the Holy Grail is shooting, right? And it stuck with me. And he said that, and there's a couple other media guys and myself were just kind of casually talking to Kevin as he's wrapping up the season. And so he's talking about what he wants to do going forward. And he said, literally says, the Holy Grail, he used that phrase. And so now, with the Jazz and their perspective, David Locke, who we all respect his basketball mind, he's really nervous about Dybantsa's shooting ability, right? Because he seems like he's got everything else that you would need. length, athleticism, desire, work ethic, blah, 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 right down the list, right? But the shooting in a league, in a game, not just a league, in a game where shooting has become so paramount, he's nervous about it. And I get it, right? I understand that. My thought for you is shooting, and what do you think of him, and how much can guys improve their shooting? Because the kid is still only 19 years old.
Well, the first thing I would tell you is that the amount of time that he's going to put into this process is going to be unlike anything he's done at any other time. I mean, it's one thing as a collegiate player, and you get better on your own, and you have coaches working you out. But getting to the next level and getting to the NBA and putting yourself in a position with multitude of coaches and just the details of improving shooting, he's going to spend more time in the next few weeks than he has in most of his first year as a collegiate player. And so I'm not too concerned about that. I mean, he's got a great mid-range game, and I watched him play pretty much every game. And there were nights that he hit threes and shot the ball well, and there were some nights that he won't. But I think his mechanics are good enough that he's going to continue to get better, and that he'll have more confidence, and he'll be surrounded by people helping him get better. I just don't see that as being a big problem right now. Well, we'll see. We'll see where he ends up playing and what ends up happening and whatever the circumstances are. But I love this guy. I just think he's got a sense of where kind of he is all the time. One of my favorite books growing up was a Bill Bradley book. Well, nobody in this broadcast probably knows who he is, but he's a guy that was with Princeton, and it was a sense of always knowing where he was, and became a great shooter. And I think AJ has a sense of where he is when he's on the floor, and whether it's in the paint, whether it's in the perimeter. I just see him getting better, and I just don't think that's going to be an issue. The fact that he is a great mid-range shooter doesn't mean that he can't be a great three-point shooter. And I think he's going to be surrounded by really, really smart people that will get him to a position, because once he stretches the floor to the three, and I know the NBA three is different than the collegiate three, I think he's going to be really special.
Do you love the phrase "the Holy Grail is shooting," or as a guy who hired one of Rick Majerus' assistants and changed the way they defended and got the opponent's shooting percentage down to 40% or even a little lower, and suddenly you're an NCAA tournament team and the rebuild it was like jet fuel to your rebuild, would you argue with shooting as the Holy Grail?
I have believed this and always believed that defense wins championships. And I just think that, yes, and it differs. I mean, you got high school and collegiate. You got the NBA. You got different levels and different advantages and circumstances that surround being great shooters. But I just think that in my experience, that teams that defend and continue to defend consistently are always going to be competitive. And I know the NBA is different than the college game, but I still do believe that even in the NBA, when you get down to the grind of an Oklahoma City, who was outstanding and maybe back-to-back champions this year, I do believe that it's defense that makes the big stops, that makes big plays, and that's where you win championships. And it'll be fun to watch this NBA and what takes place. But in my heart and mind and everything that I did for 35 years of coaching, that was always kind of our motto and our, where we stood our ground. And that was, we got to defend, we can get stops and get to the free throw line. Those are teams that win championships.
Where do you see Dybantsa leveling out, say, at a percentage of three-point shooting? The closer, obviously, you can get to 40, the better you are.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question. And, we've watched AJ at the collegiate level, and we know what he's capable of doing. I just don't see I see him being successful because of the ability that he does have to get into the mid-range game, to step out and hit threes, And I know that it'll take time. And nobody jumps into the NBA typically and has a huge impact. He and Peterson are, two of the bright spots, and as they go forward here with the draft and what it ends up looking like. And you can make arguments for either one. I just like AJ because he's so strong and gifted, and he's always in balance. He's not off balance, but he can make the Euro steps. He's really good at that in terms of getting into the mid-range game. And we'll just have to see what happens with three-point shooting. I'm not sure what his percentage ended up being collegiately. You guys might know that. But the shot doesn't look broke. It looks like he's got good rhythm, and he finishes it, and it's high. He's got the ball high in his hand. I think he's going to be just fine. And, again, the transition from college to the league, that there are some – there's some differences, and there'll be more size on the floor than he's used to dealing with. But if I'm going to pick him or Peterson, I'm taking AJ. I just think he's physically tougher and has the ability mentally, I think, too, that he has an advantage over Peterson. And Peterson's going to be a really good pro, and he may be an NBA All-Star for years, but they're both really good players. Peterson does have an upside in size and length, but I'm gonna stay with AJ.
You're not even putting Boozer into the discussion. He's a clear-cut third pick to you.
Yeah, I think so. And I've watched them play more than I thought I'd ever watch them play. And he's special too. It's interesting because there's a young man that his family lived in Fresno, and for a period of time, and so as I kind of evolved from living in California and coming here and following the league and being in Utah and following the Jazz, Boozer is really talented and maybe have a greater upside down the road. We'll see. But I like AJ. I think Boozer and Peterson are both great. I think all three of them are going to be great pros. We'll see how it unfolds. You never know. Injuries are things that are always unexpected. Hopefully they'll stay three guys that will stay healthy and have long careers in the league.
Yeah, I know. I'm with you, too, as far as Dybantsa, but I just wonder in my own preference and bias just how strong that is, because I saw him play in person a number of times and obviously on television 3 times the amount on that. And that mid-range thing, to me, is so impressive that I'm talking myself into just like worst case scenario, like if he can't shoot the 3 and it's really just in the 20s, okay, but then fake and get to the line and then just rise above everybody else and make that shot. Or do that Euro step. I keep joking that he ought to go in the Olympics and do the triple jump because his strides are like 8 feet per stride, it seems. And, he's such a high flyer that I think that, to me, he's the guy. But then, this shooting, and I keep hearing, it's like I can hear Kevin Young, and I can see, Holy Grail, PK, Holy Grail. I mean, and obviously I have an enormous respect for Kevin Young's basketball sense and his acumen, right? Because he's been there. He's been at a much higher level than I'll ever be. And so I'm conflicted. But in the end, I think I would I don't want to say roll the dice because it's too important to roll the dice. I don't want it to be a gamble. I want it to be somebody that the Jazz draft, plug in, and is good for the next decade. So I do have a little bit of conflict going on in inner turmoil.
I get that, and I think that when we look at Boozer and we look at AJ and we look at these guys, I see that in terms of they're going to have to step up, and they're Peterson I think is actually maybe the better shooter of the 3, and we'll have to see how that unfolds too. But the one thing that I really like about AJ, again, is the substance to his game, the maturity of his game. He just is an elite athlete, and he seems to really have his head on and straight, and he doesn't force stuff. He doesn't try to make plays. He takes what he can get, and you mentioned it, his Euro step and all the ways that he can get into the mid-range. But this we all will agree on. For him to be an elite player at the next level and play for 10 or 15 years and have an impact in that league, he has to become an elite three-point shooter. You cannot get this done without it, and so I say that, I leave that little caveat because I believe that he does have that ability. But for me, that's my number one focus as I watch him develop, is that can he shoot from 23, 25, 26 feet, and is he comfortable doing that? I've watched him play in college just like you guys have, but I think if there's anything that he still needs to take to another level to really have an impact in the league, he's got to be a guy that can knock shots down from 25 to 30 feet. And I'm not suggesting the contested shots. That's not what I'm talking about. When he gets a catch and there's one more and he's ready to shoot it at a distance that's significantly farther out than it is in college, then that's what you really have to look at in terms of where can he be at the next level.
PK was just throwing out numbers, but let's just go with it since it's a number you threw out in the 20s. He won't be able to fake and go by anybody and get to the mid-range if he's shooting not only in the 20s, but I even think in the low 30s, because they're just going to sit back and wait for him 15, 18 feet from the hoop, wherever he establishes that he's really good from. So in my mind, if he can get it over 35, then you can start to work with it. And obviously if he gets it to 40, then he's going to have an unbelievable career and unbelievable stats because all the other stuff is there. But he's got to get it to 35. He's got to get it to 35%. And he didn't in college. It was only 1 year, but he shot 33%. Now, we did see Igor left BYU and went to the Nets, and he started figuring it out. So
and
it can be
that's
done.
The thing is, I think it can be done. And I think the amount of time that you're dedicated to and the amount of support and coaching staffs and all the things that come with that, I'm going to be surprised if he doesn't become a 35 to 40% three-point shooter. Like you mentioned, Igor, I think that you put the time in and you're surrounded with people and pros that help you, great coaches, assistant coaches. He's going to have more help and more support in becoming who he wants to become and who we'd like to see him become than any other time in his life. And so my feeling is the upside of this is that he'll develop into a much, much better shooter, and he's already has the mid-range game. But you're absolutely right. If you can't shoot a three, they're just going to pack it in, and it's going to be hard for him to score anywhere on the floor. But my feeling in my heart is that he has that ability, that he'll have enough people helping him and spending time with him, that the things that he's really good at right now aren't going to be real difficult for him. He is. He and Peterson and Boozer, those guys are going to have to be good shooters. And I think he'll develop into that. That's my take on it. We'll see what happens a year from now or 2 years from now. But I like his ability. I like his tenacity and his grit that he has to compete in the paint and in those areas. But you're all right. I mean, he's got to be able to shoot the three to make his game complete. And I believe he can do that, and hopefully that will happen.
Steve, we appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us as always. Enjoy the games, and we will talk to you next week when we have a much better read on these conference finals.
That's true. Hey, thanks, guys. Have a great week.
Steve Cleveland, former BYU and Fresno State basketball coach. All right, Ute fans, Dr. Chris Hill is coming up in studio. He's got a book out, Trip Down Memory Lane, a lot of stories, and also where is college sports going now with the playoffs, the TV deals, the potential realignment, all the NIL money piling up. We'll talk with Chris Hill coming up next. Stay with us.
For Jazz fans, it's been a rough few years. Well, those days are behind us as the Utah Jazz finally struck gold in the NBA Draft Lottery.
Picking second.
As the Jazz prepare to draft a potential superstar with the number 2 overall pick, nobody will bring you better coverage of the NBA Draft than the KSL Sports Zone. For all the breaking news, high-profile interviews, and player analysis leading right up to draft night, keep it locked on your exclusive home of Utah Jazz basketball, 97.5. The KSL Sports Zone.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now everything's on sale during our Memorial Day event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses for a limited time. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life sleep.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
I sold my car in Carvana last night.
Well, that's cool.
No, you don't understand. It went perfectly. Real offer, down to the penny. They're picking it up tomorrow. Nothing went wrong.
So, what's the problem?
That is the problem. Nothing in my life goes as smoothly. I'm waiting for the catch.
Maybe there's no catch.
That's exactly what a catch would want me to think.
Wow, you need to relax.
I need to knock on wood. Do we have wood? Is this table wood?
I think it's laminate.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's close enough.
Car selling without a catch. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams Memorial Day sale and get 30% off paints and stains May 15th through the 28th. Whether you're refreshing your interior or exterior, we've got the colors to bring your vision to life. And with delivery, getting everything to your door is easier than ever. Shop online to have it delivered or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details. Delivery available on qualifying orders.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. You were talking earlier this morning, PK. No doom and gloom on the future of college sports.
I just hate that outlook on anything. If we don't act now, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Stuff can be figured out. Even when it goes wrong, stuff can be figured out.
It's just across the board.
You want 16 or 24? I mean, it's just like we're picking
talking
sides
thousands?
Here.
I want 24.
No, we're talking teams in a college football playoff. Because you got the SEC over here and a commissioner, even though some isolated coaches seem to be in favor of 24, the commission is standing firm on 16. And the Big Ten seems all in on 24. And they already rewrote the rules that those two leagues are going to decide and everybody else is going to go along with it. The Big 12 and ACC, for whatever it's worth, and I don't think it's much, have signed off on the Big Ten's plan for 24.
I don't want 24 without 16. I'm not
you want to see 16?
Yes, exactly.
See 16, see how it looks.
We've seen 12. I mean, we've seen this a few times, like, the Mountain West or the WAC wasn't working.
So they went to 16 teams.
Yeah.
Whoa, easy.
Went over the top.
Yeah, that didn't work.
And then it didn't work. And fortunately...
Course correction, they went to Mountain West at 8.
And that worked.
It did. And then it went to 9.
And then that worked.
Right. 9, 10, 12. It worked for a long time until this recent split. I thought the Mountain West had a good thing going. Having grown up with one of those teams and covered another one here.
Before Utah went to the Pac-12 and BYU went independent, that was a good thing. They were going to bring in Boise. That was a good thing in basketball, the two sports that matter the most. And that got
Utah,
they got cut at the knees.
BYU, and TCU all left.
Yeah.
And so, it was a good thing. But then that whole decade and a half with Utah State coming in and getting good, and obviously Boise State was the big dog, and San Diego State and Fresno State had good runs, that was a good thing.
Yeah.
Now it's split up with this Pac-12 Mountain West thing again. I know. I just have to accept, all right, everything changes. Here we go.
Right. So I would want to see 16 a little bit. 24
I'm
just seems
surprised.
like a watering down of the regular season.
I'm surprised by how much I like the more expanded playoff and by how much the playoff has justified itself.
The 12 years.
The 12. Because when it went from 2 to 4, which I thought was a great idea and I wanted to happen all along, and Steve Spurrier had a line, I like 4. I'm going to love 16. He always thought it was inevitable.
And you know what Steve Spurrier did Saturday night?
What did he do Saturday night?
He walked out at the Swamp with Morgan Wallen.
Oh, yeah? Nice.
He had 2 concerts there.
Morgan Wallen always loves to play the sports angle.
100,000 people, 2 consecutive nights.
Nice.
And the first Friday, Saturday. Friday he walked out with Tebow. Saturday he walked out with Spurrier.
Morgan Wallen. I like that.
Two local heroes.
Make sure you get loud cheers right out of the gate. Put everybody in a good mood.
Right.
Love that. At 4, I thought, and we talked about it, and maybe it was even true at the time, because I think NIL has spread the talent out in a way we couldn't really foresee. But if you pick the top 4 teams, you're going to have the best teams. Well, Miami barely got in. I mean, they were the 10th team in the rankings, and with the 2 automatic bids, they were the last team in. It was a big fight with Alabama and Notre Dame, and BYU didn't even get a sniff at I guess at that point they would have been 11-2.
Yeah.
And then Miami goes and wins at Texas A&M and wins again and presses Indiana in the title game. All right, I don't have a problem with 12 at that point. If you're having that big a problem figuring this out, nor would I have a big problem with Notre Dame getting in or BYU getting in. There's a little bit of Alabama, but maybe that's me and my bias being cranky about them getting in. So I don't really have a problem going to 16. I really don't have a problem going to 24, and I figure we're going there, so I figure I'd just accept it more quickly.
I would rather see 16 first.
See what the tournament looks like.
Yeah.
Make sure we
and
don't
what
end
it
up
does to the smaller schools. Does it destroy and eliminate and ruin and bowls? I want to see, because there's Yormark talked about what do they call that? The unintended consequences. Right. He talked about that at the Cowboy Stadium before the game. I was sitting right there. And we don't know what they are because they're unintended. We can anticipate some of them, but we don't know the full
ramifications.
Exactly.
There will be surprises.
Right. So let's go. It's not exactly baby steps. I think it's a big step to go from 2 to 4 to 12 to 16. Mm-hmm. But I'm more comfortable wanting to see what's around it, how does it work, and then see. Because the last thing we want is... And whoever thought we would say this, Kyle Whittingham sitting his quarterback at Michigan because they have a big game the week of the following week. So his quarterback, who's a little banged up, doesn't play against Ohio State. Wow, what a world.
And PK sold that, and if you're watching on the KSL Sports app or on YouTube, you might know why. Dr. Chris Hill just walked in the room, the former Utah athletic director.
Let's argue about something like that, will you?
Kyle Whittingham sitting his quarterback at Michigan against Ohio State because they got a playoff game the week after.
If that happened, he probably was in the hospital for something he broke or something. He's not going to avoid the sideline in that game.
Okay, his running back.
Okay, maybe that, but
somebody important.
Yeah, somebody.
Or flip side, Ryan Day doesn't.
Yeah, and who cares?
And one of the most storied wins, right? Who cares who wins?
Who cares who wins
because
the game?
It's the next week,
right?
And therefore, from at that point, that's what really matters.
Yeah,
That's
for
nervous.
Sure. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, we're all longtime college football fans here.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Well, the 3 of us are.
Yeah, there you go.
Yak is over there, And we don't want to see it hurt. We want to see it get better, not get worse.
Yeah, I like what you said. Be a little careful, though, because what's going to happen in the regular season or hurt, because it's like basketball now where the regular season doesn't mean much.
It bothered me a little bit to sit in the press box knowing that there were 3 or 4 guys at Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. I grew up at the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
That wasn't the cornfield in Iowa.
Yeah.
That wasn't – the Rose Bowl was heaven to me.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like a lot of things that have changed over the past several years. You kind of just roll your eyes, but you say, okay, well, that's where it's going. I better jump on board.
Yeah.
Or,
or get out.
The good old days aren't, they may be good, but they're not happening now.
Right, exactly.
So we're having this discussion, and these are all good points, and these have been discussed, but I feel like we're not discussing the elephant in the room. Like, if we're going to talk to people, let's not waste our listeners' time. The SEC thinks what they think, and they have a TV deal with ESPN. And I'm a little loath to say that these TV companies are putting their thumb all the way on the scale and pressing it down. They, by just virtue of their voice, if the Big 12 calls and says, what team can we add that you'll pay us the most money for? They say West Virginia. I don't feel like they're demanding West Virginia, but they have the power because they're going to give the Big 12 money. Right? It's a little more subtle. It's a little more nuanced. Mm-hmm. Right now, I feel like the fist is on the scale. They're jumping up and down on the scale. ESPN wants all the games. We have Tim Brandon, who works for Fox. And if it goes to 24 teams, they'll need another network partner in to bid for the games and the way the contract is drawn up. And Tim Brando loses his mind and takes over the segment like, They've got to let Fox in. They got to go to 24.
Right, yeah.
He's just pounding the table. It's clear this isn't some type of proxy battle. This is a full-on Fox wants in, and the Big Ten is in Fox's corner because they got to deal with him. And ESPN and ABC are in the SEC's corner. And we're really watching Fox and ESPN fight over TV programming in December.
Oh, yeah, in December. They're going to be doing that, maybe not throughout the year. It's interesting because, I think I told you my son was in acquisitions at ESPN for 12 years, and now he went to YouTube, and I'm just wondering what all these other places are going to do. Who owns who's going to continue to own whom.
YouTube's owned by Google, right?
Yes, they are. Yeah. He was with Disney, and they went to Google, and I said, okay, Disney, Google, well, I think you have a safe harbor there. They actually park your car for you. That's pretty nice. But, he said he'd put
Seriously?
me in
He has a valet at work?
Oh, yeah, they do at Google.
Oh, wow.
Then I said, well, at least you're going to put me in a better nursing home now. You can afford it. So he was good, I mean, he said it's not going to be the Ritz, but it'll be, an upscale, Marriott or something. But anyway, it's, I don't know. I'm a little not afraid, because it's not my job anymore. But going to 24 is a lot right away, like you were saying. Maybe you bounce into it. And then you're going to hit me with the bowl games, and I'm kind of done with them. I mean, there's just too many for me. And it's not the experience now it's going to be. And you don't have the Rose Bowl. I'm getting back to things happening. But 24 will make it happen, too. And they'll make the money. And live TV is it. That's the deal in terms of sports because you can't tape it. You can't do any of that stuff. You can do with everything else on TV.
Right, yeah. And DJ's heard me tell this story before about the bowl games. The big dogs, they're going to be okay, right, either way. But several years back, I was covering the Arizona Bowl as Utah State against New Mexico State.
Right.
And so I'm in Tucson, and New Mexico State obviously isn't that far away from Tucson, and the amount of purple that was in that town the day of the game, because they don't go to bowl games all the time. It's a huge deal.
Right.
And then they win in overtime, and the kid kicks a field goal or miss a field goal or something, I don't remember. But I just saw the smiles on the faces of those young men and their families, and they don't get that. And we're supposed to be in for the business of the kids, young men, young women. I don't want to deny the Mexico States of the world the opportunity that meant the world to them.
Oh, yeah. I understand that one. It's the ones that are 25 through 45. They're the ones that I think are kind of going, oh, man, we're not in a big time. We're used to going to bowls. I mean, believe me, if New Mexico State went 4 years in a row, they wouldn't have the same interest at all.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's good for them, but that middle group's going to be tough where they are. If you're not in the top.
I get why Notre Dame didn't want to go bowling. They just said no. When they got left out, they just said no. I think bowls for Power Fours have jumped the shark. And so for the group of 5 teams, they have so little access to the playoff. Yeah. It still matters to G5 or G6 now. It still matters to them. However, I did see for the first time, and he was unnamed because this is a little coloring outside the lines, but I did see a G5 say that the bowl games are a break-even experience largely. Sometimes they're a money-losing experience if you go cross-country. Well, I don't know who it is. If you get to stay home, if you're Hawaii playing the Hawaii Bowl, San Diego State playing the Poinsettia Bowl, or it's a short drive. But once you got to fly to Louisiana or wherever, now you're losing money.
How many bowl games do you think we made money on?
So
0.
3. Vegas Bowls?
The BYU Vegas Bowl.
Right.
Yes.
Drivable.
The and because of the opponent.
Right.
Fiesta Bowl because it was
the Fiesta
BCS
Bowl,
and the Sugar Bowl because it was Alabama.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Everything else we lost money.
Right.
But I remember being up there
That's fine.
at the Huntsman Center on a basketball night in a non-conference in December, and we used to have that little media thing when the front door there, and your office was down the hall to the left, and you got the call that you're in the bowl, and you came out, and I think you were going to go talk to Liz Abel down the hall, or whoever was down the hall, and I swear your feet were 3 feet off the ground.
Yeah, that was the Copper Bowl probably.
Is that what it was?
Well, it
would have been your first year.
But you were so fired up about it.
I mean, for Utah, it was kind of, for me and for our program, that was like Okay, that's the first
Validation.
mini step for us building this program, trying to get there. We were 6-6. On Thanksgiving night, one of my mentors called me, Fred Miller, and I'm debating how do we get in. He says, you got to buy your way in. I said, what do you mean? Buy an extra $250,000 tickets and tell your president it's what you had to do. So we do that. Next day, we try to raise some money. But that was the deal. We had to get in to start and have our name on that Christmas week and across the bottom, and Utah's playing. And I think we got clobbered by that great running back from Wisconsin. But that's
Ron Dane.
Yeah, Ron Dane. That's sick. I can remember that stuff. But that's just the way it was. But I was fired up.
Right.
I was fired up because it was a big validation, for us.
And I thought it was awesome, and because you were beaming.
Oh yeah, I was. I maybe my vertical leap was 6 inches then, as opposed to 1 now.
But I thought it was super cool that Utah got to go to a bowl.
Oh, it was fabulous. It was absolutely fabulous, and it gave us a starting point. Now years after that, we were happy to go to a bowl, but it wasn't the same feeling because it wasn't maybe the one we wanted. The advantage we had is that we weren't as much a TV darling, and we sometimes played a little bit easier team than we would have if we were a little bit more of a TV person. TV attraction.
Right.
So it was good to win games.
Sure.
Yeah.
So when you hear what I read was that the unnamed G5 official, it's the first time I ever heard, and someone identified as an athletic director, I don't know what school, say that he was in favor of a G5, G6 playoff now. He thinks it'll generate more money. And he doesn't think, even at 24 teams, he says there's one team in one league each year that's going to get access to that playoff money. We will make more money if we have a G5 playoff. And I've never really heard him be open to it because they don't want to be a sub-classification, but money's driving everything. And maybe now people are starting to warm to that.
Well, they may want to do that. I wouldn't want it to be run by the NCAA because then the money would be spread differently, and it would not match what they need.
They'd have to do their own thing.
The challenge is, do you really need the bowl people then? Or do you just say, hey, we got a big-time bowl. We contact Boise, say, when are you going to pay us, the group of 5, to play here? And maybe they get it. And then if you can get it on TV between Christmas and New Year's, as much as we all go, oh, my God, there's the toilet bowl and, Northeast Jabibi State's playing somebody else, people turn it on because they're sitting there. And
especially if the bowl games go away. People are still looking for programming.
Yeah, that time of year, people are going to look for that. And people don't really care if it's a bowl game or not. They're just watching a football game, and it's in Boise or something like that.
I don't think they'd need bowl games at that point. I think they'd want to play on campus and sell the tickets, and then both teams don't travel. Only one has to, and they save money and have a better atmosphere.
I wish they would have done that with the Pac-12. We wanted that first year, and they played at Oregon, or maybe even the second year. But can you imagine University of Utah playing in the Pac-12 playoff at home? That'd be Olympic money in terms of the tickets. I think.
Oh yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. We're playing Ohio State at Utah. I mean, it make the place crazy. Of course, going down to Rose Bowl is different, but maybe playing Ohio State rather in the Fiesta Bowl and playing home here in Houston would be the city'd be ridiculous.
Right.
You didn't like my city?
What's your city?
Tempe, Phoenix.
You're getting the ASU thing.
No, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. If you really want, that bowl game was a pain in the butt.
The Fiesta Bowl?
Yeah, it's hard to get around. There was no heartbeat. Like we were in New Orleans, all our fans were there, but we were out wherever we were in Scottsdale, the whole valley's the same city. I mean, geez.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nothing but strip malls and stuff like that.
Cactus,
yeah. So, I don't like your city.
Pools.
I mean, I don't like your city. We can go on about that for a long time,
Chris, you got a book out. We'll talk about this coming up. What is it? Where can people find it? What's the title of the book?
Well, ironically, it's called 31 Years in the Front Row. Mm-hmm. And I actually I have a website, chrishillstories.com. It's up for the publisher part of it for the email and the book. And then Amazon, it takes a little work to have them be on. So the website, somebody did it for me. I thought it'd be easy just to plug on. So I bought my wife one yesterday to make sure it worked, and I bought myself an email. So at least 2 people have been involved. But,
all right.
It was just a fun process as much as anything, just memorializing everything.
Yeah. All right, we'll talk more about that coming up with Chris Hill in a moment. Stay with us, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
3, 2, 1. This is Scotty G and Coach Tim LeCoe.
Morgan Scally, head coach at the University of Utah.
The hiring of Kevin McGivern, very, very innovative. When I've watched his teams, man, he loves to fling that thing around. Are you looking to open the offense a little bit?
I want to be explosive no matter where that comes from. If we're an explosive offense, but we're not physical, to me, that's the detriment to the entire team. You have to be physical, period, end of story, because a lack of physicality gets exposed at the highest levels. The priority, the premium is on physicality, and then explosive football, obviously explosive plays that can be from running the ball, from catching the ball. I think we have one of the best wide receiver groups we've had since I've been here. We want to get our playmakers the ball, but you have to play complementary football, and that's what Kevin's offense does.
Catch Scotty G and Coach weekdays from 10 to 2, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Ready or not, summer is coming, and Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance is on now. Right now through May 25th, get up to 70% off everything home at Wayfair. Plus, score amazing doorbuster deals all sale long and surprise flash deals on Memorial Day. We're talking thousands of products at every style and budget. Now is the time to save big on must-haves for your patio, backyard, and beyond. These savings won't last, so don't wait. Shop Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance now through May 25th.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
Mom, can you tell me a story?
Sure. Once upon a time, a mom needed a new car.
Was she brave?
She was tired, mostly. But she went to Carvana.com and found a great car at a great price. No secret treasure map required.
Did you have to fight a dragon?
Nope. She bought it 100% online. From her bed, actually.
Was it scary?
Honey, it was as unscary as car buying could be.
Did the car have a sunroof?
It did, actually.
Okay, good story.
Car buying you'll want to tell stories about. Buy your car today on
Carvana.
Delivery fees may apply.
DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We're on YouTube and the KSL app as well. You can watch us. Dr. Chris Hill is here. You got a book out, and you were talking about really just putting down the experiences, the thoughts, the stories, all the interactions. What was your favorite one to recall in the book you've got out, which is available online right now?
Outside of the 10 Major stories? Or
how'd you come only with 10?
He has an editor. They cut him down.
I got 19 chapters, only 2 on Rick. And the
Plus
rest,
there's going to be a second
it's
book.
interspersed throughout.
Of course.
I mean, my favorite thing was just going through it all. And, I had stories with my family, different stories about how we got into Pac-12. I didn't beat anybody up in the book, but Larry Scott and Greg Hughes from the legislature and one vice president University who I hope is listening, and he's scared that he knows it's him. But anyway.
That's your vindictive New Jersey side coming out right there.
But it was fun. It started out as just the library when I retired said, hey, let's do memoirs. And you've been there 31 years, and you're
the library, the university?
Yeah, university, and they wanted me to do an oral history. And so they started talking about, being from New Jersey. I said, what do you mean? I said, you were the AD at 37, and you never lived in Utah. They said it's unique. And then COVID came, and then Liz and I started to write a couple stories, and we got lost a little steam and just thought, well, we'll just have stories and just for my family, which is what I wanted to do. And then I lost some steam. Then I'm up in Park City. 3 of the guys on the basketball committee we invited up, Greg Byrne in Alabama now, Bubba Cunningham from North Carolina now, and Jamie Dixon. Not Jamie Dixon, he's the coach. Jamie Pollard and we started telling stories. They said, Chris, our ADs that we know wrote leadership books, which puts people to sleep, and yours may too. But I was telling stories about Jersey and Valvano and Dick Vitale, and we talked about. And they said, Chris, how can an Irish Catholic from New Jersey at 37 with no experience, not knowing where it was on the map when you were 22, be 80 at 37? You got some weird stories. And so that kind of motivated me to do it. I had Brad Rock and I had Liz help me, because I can't type. you know. So I needed a lot of help, and I was a math major, not an English major, so I don't know the punctuation or, you know, I did diagram sentences 100 years ago when they had it in elementary school. But, you know, that's what kind of the genesis was, and it was kind of fun.
Was the challenge to boil it down? Because, I mean, you could go 5 books on Majerus.
Yeah, what I was hoping is that it gives a flavor of what it was like to sit in my chair. You know, the title was, 31 years in the front row, so I kind of wanted to give a little flavor of things, and with Majerus, things grew a little better for me with him. We didn't get, people might think we got in yelling contests all the time. That was maybe 5 times a year, but waking up every day, knowing it could be a national story or it could be nothing. He could show up at the Crimson Club luncheon or come in 5 minutes late and stay for an hour. And you knew during the luncheon that he's going to say something. They're all going to go back to the office. I can't believe Majerus said this. And then you'd call me and say, did he really do that? Are you going to write on that kind of hand? Oh, my God. So that was he was a interesting collection of people, we used to say.
I like the one.
He's an interesting collection of people.
We're down in Tucson, and they win 2 games easily, and he decides that the university didn't believe in him, so they didn't have a plane set up for him immediately when he wanted to go, the second he wanted to go, and then you call me. That's not true. No, and I said, I know it's not true. He just makes up crap.
I know. I told him his book was something about life on a napkin, and I said, actually, mine's nonfiction. This is fiction, but he is funny. He goes, I don't even like me sometimes. I go, I got that. But no, just the.
I never heard him say that. That would have killed me.
Oh, no, he would say that to me.
That would have killed me if I'd heard him say that.
Oh, yeah. It's just, I don't even like me sometimes. And, the collection of people are wonderful. Dear departed Woody made that one up. Said, he's an interesting collection of people.
Well, Woody, Bruce Woodbury you're talking about, who was the longtime sports information for decades, he had, and I was just telling my wife this the other day, he had a great definition of Majerus. He called him a one-member dysfunctional family.
Oh, that's great. I'll have to use that one. But no, it was funny. He is interspersed, and you can't deny it, when you think about 31 years. I mean, I was with him 14, and it was pretty significant part of my life,
I only had 10.
We had
that was plenty.
Yeah, we had, and I divided it into 2 eras because I thought there were 2 eras. There was the 90s, and then there was after that.
Sure.
And the pendulum swung, and just funny, not funny things, but things you would. So his last agent was Falk, David Falk.
Yeah.
And it's towards the end, and we kind of had 1 year left on his contract in this day and age, and we weren't really interested in doing what, but the president of the university said, you got to meet with David Falk, bring your lawyer. And David Falk was Michael Jordan's agent.
Sure. Van Horn's.
Thought I was from nowhere, Utah.
Yeah.
Country bumpkin.
Oh, yeah.
Takes his plane in. He stays at the Monaco. Me and our lawyer and I are up there. He mentioned Michael Jordan maybe 372 times, and his...
So at least he didn't try to big time you.
No, he didn't try to. He thought, and we walked out of the room and said, we ain't doing it anymore, but be nice and call the next day and say we're kind of done. So that's an experience, that would be in your chair, just thinking about, okay, we got this meeting, we kind of know where we are. The leverage is different than it was 10 years ago,
right.
Blah, 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 blah. Right. But it was funny because he came in, his watch was more expensive than my car, and he let me know.
Yeah. When we come back, I want you to go forward the basketball, because obviously you had a ton of success with Majerus, and then you had some serious struggles, and now Alex has the Majerus DNA, but the rules are completely different.
Oh, boy.
So I'm curious what you foresee for Utah basketball specifically, but in college basketball generally. We'll get to that next. Stay with us right here. Chris Hill in studio with us, DJ PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now everything's on sale during our Memorial Day event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses, plus free delivery when you add a base. Ends Monday. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life's sleep.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.